What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news and sometimes with some interesting people, all with a touch of what, Terence?
A touch of coconut-laced humor, man.
Coconut lace.
Yeah.
We have the founder of Mr. Coconut. No,
Yeah. Chief Financial Coconut.
yeah,
Man.
Chief Financial Coconut with us because he is Reggie, the founder of the Financial Coconut. Second time guest of Yalabat.
Yeah.
Right, Reggie? And he's sitting opposite us now. And earlier in the office, I asked him, "Hey, Reggie, when was the last time you recorded a podcast with us?" And I think we are past the point of small talk where he very bluntly told me, "Dude, it was budget last year. So it was 1 year ago."
It's an annual thing.
Then I was
It's
like,
an annual thing.
yeah,
It's like an annual segment now.
thing.
Yeah.
Correct.
We are the show to go to now, right?
Exactly.
So who wants to listen to CNA? Hey, wait.
No, I think also like it literally was one of our more well-received podcasts
Serious?
last year. I
Yeah.
think so, yeah. People,
Nice.
I mean, because we did two, right? One
Two,
on
yeah.
our channel, one on yours. On ours, I think people really appreciated the breakdown you did on a lot of things, like really down to the basics of like what is GST, for
Yeah,
example.
correct. I
Questions
remember
like
that
right?
question.
Yeah. So yeah, it is. We're here to do it again, and I think a lot of people are excited lah. They've been pinging Harish nonstop. Like when you getting Reggie?
Oh shit!
Come on,
It's
boy.
great. It's great. I'm becoming like popular.
You've always been.
This whole season has been just really packed. I've been like working all the different media outlets. Right?
Wait, sorry, what do you mean season? Like
Budget is a season now for me.
Oh,
this
Right?
is like your Champions League moment.
Exactly. It's like a once a year. Like I'm popular for once a year, right?
So you say you're recording with all the media outlets, so you're a player lah, bro. Is it?
No,
You're a
I'm not.
podcast
I'm not.
player, is it?
No. So I'm just a
Hey,
beacon.
Make us feel like, walao eh, you're just a one night stand, is it, Reggie?
No.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, on my show, I was like, I should go on the Yalabat guys shows and talk about it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So really
True,
really
you
like
slid
it.
into our DMs.
Yeah,
right?
no, I didn't. I just announced it on my podcast. I think some people slid into the Reddit DM, right?
Oh yeah,
for you
yeah,
guys.
correct. Yeah,
So
the
yeah,
Reddit DM.
it's great. Love it.
So, and also because when we did the podcast episode on this past Wednesday, we talked about the budget. Yeah, it was just one topic, but it felt like we needed a deep dive lah. So
I.e., we felt like we didn't know what we were talking about.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. We're like, oh shit. Looks like we need Reggie.
I
But
try. Yeah.
You try. So I mean, I know, like you say, it's season for you, it's budget season for you. Like, is it a good season or tricky season or
it's
surprising season?
I mean, it's always tired, right? It's like it's a very tiring season because I go into different shows to talk about my perspective, you know, and try to contextualize it, you know, so that people can understand a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I damn drained. Right?
it?
It's like, yeah.
But what do you think people expect from you? Like, what have they come to expect from Reggie when he comes to talk about budget? And why do they want to listen to Reggie talk about the budget?
Like radical candor and some like wisdom.
Wow. Radical candor.
Yeah, but I'm like, oh my god. Sometimes you must direct, okay? Like the expectation is quite mad, you know.
Yeah.
It's not every year that the budget is interesting, right? Let's be clear, right? So like this year's budget, people feel like, like not so exciting. So they want like humor, excitement, they want the joy, you know. At the same time, it's
So
like,
you bring
wow,
joy
like,
lah,
feel
is it,
smart.
Reggie?
I mean, thanks lah, right?
And the romance of it lah, Valentine's Day, all that. So
The romance
was that
of
like
it.
your how you spend your Valentine's Day, cutting like dissecting?
Yeah, listening to Lawrence twice.
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 Yeah, same, right? Last year, before I come on your show, I also listened twice. I said that I never read Straits Times headlines to come and talk, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I actually listen it. Right? So yeah, it's just not so romantic. Expecting more from Sugar Daddy, right?
Yeah.
Like, but no, don't have.
I see.
How long was his speech?
Actually, this year was very short.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
1 hour, 40 minutes.
Last year was
much longer.
still
3
Sugar Daddy
hours.
Heng or Lawrence Wong?
Wong
Wong
already.
already.
Yeah,
already.
Lawrence, yes.
Oh, it was 3 hours.
You were joking about it, right? No longer Sugar Daddy
No
Heng,
longer
right?
Sugar Daddy Heng.
So-
And Sugar Daddy Wong just doesn't roll off the tongue. We need to find like some sort of term for him. Yeah, like Sugar Daddy Heng, Sugar Daddy Heng, stuck.
Crazy things like we are telling all these jokes, right? Or at least you're telling all these jokes. And I feel suddenly got this deja vu feeling like we've told these jokes before a year ago. Like, Reggie, is it like your season is your Champions League moment? Oh, Sugar Daddy Heng. Sugar Daddy Wong doesn't roll off the tongue that well. Feels like all jokes that we were
feels like we're getting cheesy, right? We need to update our
we just recycle every year also.
Every year, the same jokes.
Because of segment, so like sponsors need to sponsor the segment. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you say you've been on different shows. So like, how can you classify what angles those things or what aspects of the budget that you have spoken about so far? There's something about the quantifiable stuff, some of the qualitative stuff.
Yeah, so I did a whole thing with Rice Media, right? So there's a whole season of shows that we're doing with Rice Media over these 2 weeks. You know, all on kind of budget. And Rice Media, right? It was very like lefty social commentary. Wanted to be a bit more edgy, right? So everything must have that angle, like from the casting to everything must have, because on our network on the Financial Coconut podcast. We always talk about personal finance, like investing, right? And to be clear, there's just a lot of Chinese men in that space. Okay?
Is it?
This is wow. Oh, you didn't know, right? There's just a lot of Chinese men in that space, right? So half the time I'm telling the team, hey, we need some other
minority,
like permutation, not even like minority or women, or just like give me someone else, right? Like enough of Chinese men, but it just didn't fruit because it's much higher, right? They're much harder to cast people that are not Chinese men in the space, right? But working with Rice, right? Always must have. Like, oh yeah, we need someone else, cannot like on set all Chinese people, all that. So casting was a headache, but we made it work for sure. And yeah, there's always the social nuance to it, right? Is baby bonus enough? Like, what do stay-home moms need? Because everything is working moms, right? Even to date, everything's working moms. So it's like, do stay-home moms need anything? So yeah, a lot of social tonality to that. Yeah, very Rice, very Rice.
Whereas here you can come and be your Chinese uncle self.
Yeah, just joke about it, right?
Radical candor.
Yeah, radical candor, right? Kopitiam uncle, right?
Radical candor. I see. Yeah. So then what? Like, if I were to ask you, looking at like the budget, listening to Lawrence Wong twice, what were the things that stuck out to you?
I think the main thing that stuck out was less about the specific budget, but the change in tone and narrative, right? So two things, right? One thing is this budget. I think the opening 20 minutes of the speech was really talking about how Singapore, like, we lost, like we don't know what to do now. Right? Yeah. So it's like, we got to regroup, we got to look inwards. The world is in a mess. The US is doing this thing and then like combating China, blah, 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 blah. So there's a lot of that. And it's no longer this tonality of like, our plan is solid. You just need to work harder. You know what I mean? Say, producer laughing. So it's like, it's no longer that. It's a lot of like, like, this is a shit show. We need to do something about it. Right? So instead of trying to, project a very like, okay, we just need to do this or we just need to do that. Now it's a lot of stock taking. Coming back to say like, what are we good at? Oh, we are a global port, which is true for hundreds of years, right? I think since 1600s, we are already a global port, right? And then we are a financial hub, right? All those kind of things, right? So there's a lot of that kind of looking inward of like, okay, who are we? What do we have? And then this is what's happening outside. What should we do, right? Rather than like, this is the plan, And
that was last year for you, is it?
No, I think that was like maybe
2 years
before COVID .
Oh, before COVID.
Yeah, before COVID, that was like, last year's plan was like how to save the day, right?
Correct.
So last year's plan
how long
was
you been
clear.
listening to budget like since young?
No.
You talk like, in the yesteryear the budget was a lot more. I was like,
that's his thing when he was growing up. I want to listen to budget.
It's like your Christmas, is it?
No, I'm one of the 600 people that listen to Parliamentary Live. Yeah,
every sitting.
Almost like people listen to like podcasts. I listen to the Parliament talk Then I'll be like, who is this person?
So if it's 12 hours, you listen 12 hours. Or you put it in the background?
Yeah, I put it in the background. I will not like listen. I'm like, what's this person saying? Right? And then I will go and search. So, this guy, Yeah. So I'm one of those people.
You're interested in what? The spectacle of it or what?
The depth of the discussion.
The depth. But you can always read the transcript afterwards and all that.
No, transcripts is already mellowed down, right, in that sense, right? So, and if you read headlines, even worse, right? Headlines is narrative driven, it's being snipped up.
Yeah.
So if you really want to get the juice, right, you must listen to the whole thing. But let's be clear, how many people can listen to the whole thing? Right? So it's privileged that way.
Yeah, I've heard, we heard recently that you can actually also just show up when Parliament
Yeah, you
right?
can. I texted my friends like, hey, why? Do you see this? I was like, yeah, I know I'm here. I was like, huh? You're here?
Shit.
It's like, yeah.
I want to go to the next parliamentary sitting.
Yeah, let's
I don't know
go.
why I
We do
haven't gone
live
before.
coverage, right?
You cannot bring in your phone.
Cannot bring phone.
Okay, every
You
phone.
can bring pencil so you can sketch. You can
Oh,
sketch
shit.
and then go out, take photo, upload, come in,
okay,
sketch.
okay.
No phones allowed.
No phones allowed. Shit.
But just based on the like all this we are saying about the presentation, the first 20 minutes, did it sound to you like a upbeat Lawrence Wong or a pessimistic Lawrence Wong, or what kind of Lawrence Wong are we talking about?
I think more in check lah.
In check,
right? Because it's quite out there already, right? That the government or they tends to talk down to the people in that sense, right? It's like, yeah, this is how it should be done, lah, right? You're not working hard enough. At least there's one group of people, they talk about it, and I think the internet is filled with this narrative. It's like, you think we don't know, right? So that kind of stuff, But I think this round is not as much of that.
Okay.
It's a lot of like, okay, like we also need to figure this out.
Yeah.
So it's more kumbaya lah, in that sense.
How does that square with we can go back a bit, but right before the budget was announced, Lawrence Wong, I think he posted that he's going to send a Valentine's Day gift to Singaporeans. What do you think of packaging like that lah?
I think they need to change a PR company. So at first it was like humble background, right? And then and then Valentine's Day gift, I was like, bro, no lah.
So Reggie, if you imagine like you were on a date with Lawrence Wong and he gave you this as a gift, would it be like that was a good Valentine's Day gift? Or like you're like, hey, do better next year, okay?
I mean, if he come on my show, I will be very happy to ask. But I know I'm like the 100th, show that is waiting for him to come on. Right? So yeah, but it's not. I think the problem there is that, in other words, you hype up the populace, right? You hype up the people to say, it's gonna be a gift, blah blah blah, and then you come out, it's like no leh. It's like no leh. Inflation adjusted, lor. That's it. But it's not like we're gonna support you. No, I think last year was more supportive.
Last year,
right?
Yeah.
But last year's support was anchored on a hard time, right? In other words,
we were coming out of the hard time now.
So which is barely, right? But is on that front is very aligned with their narrative of like prudence, right?
Yeah.
So that's that. And then this year is not as sexy, but you hype it up that way, like Valentine's Day gift or So it's the differential there, It's not about the actuality of the budget itself, but just the way it's marketed and the reality that comes out. It fell a bit flat lah.
So
I feel
like expectation, reality didn't meet
yes.
expectations.
And they didn't need to do that. You know what I mean? Like he didn't need to hype it up that way.
Yeah.
He could have been okay. This year we are. Things are moving along, everything's coming back. We're just
manage expectations.
He could have just done that. So, so we're just gonna give you a slight booster and cover up some of the problems recently, and then we're gonna hustle through together.
It's like
something
you tell
like that,
your
right?
partner, I'm going to give you a good Valentine's Day gift.
I bring you eat Japanese, then end up Saizeriya.
Not so bad. Maybe Genki only. Genki.
No shit to Saizeriya. They're awesome for what they do.
Brought to you by Saizeriya.
Damn smooth.
like 2 months before Valentine's, you tell your girlfriend, I'm bringing you for some awesome Japanese food. And they're like excited and all.
When Moss Burger.
Not so bad. Genki.
Okay.
So
that was the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was the first 20 minutes.
Then
after that, I mean the news is out there, right? Like little bit of bonus here and there. CPF continued expansion. Right? So I think the other two things that really caught my eyes was the platform workers becoming. They now need to contribute CPF, right? So
younger ones are younger
below
ones,
30, right?
Yeah. So it's a shift in stance, right? In other words, right? Because previously, I think our manpower minister came out and said that, we do not consider platform worker as a proper job in that sense, right? It is a transitionary job. I think that was one of the words that they used.
Before, platform worker meaning like
Grab
drivers,
delivery riders, Foodpanda, those kind of.
Any other platforms that we're talking about? Like?
Maybe like even your like those kind of like ServiceNow kind of platform.
Helping
platform.
So
those
not
kind
just
of stuff.
riders or drivers.
I think the definition will get a bit clearer as it plays out.
Yeah. I mean, if only we had an MP in one of these platform companies lah.
That would help to clear
that would help. If only,
But they're not involved in public policy.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
they're not.
Okay, you're not. I try to get her on my show. You're not helping. Right?
Just an aside. I mean, I think she should be willing to talk about this issue if the conscience is really clear about it, right? Being transparent.
Yeah.
I even proposed the last podcast, radical transparency, review your salary at Grab.
Radical candor.
Radical candor, radical transparency. Just review your salary, then nobody will have an issue. We know the amount and then let us argue about it, but she should go on your show regardless of what you say or anything.
Yeah, so Tin Pei Ling, please go on the financial coconut.
Yeah,
okay?
we are literally in your ward right now recording this. Calling for you to appear on financial coconut.
Come. Yes, thank you. Woo, thanks for helping.
No problem. So going back to that, it was that platform workers below 30, the companies will now need to contribute to CPF.
Yeah, including the worker itself, right?
Now, why not the older? Why older workers excluded?
That part,
not ages, bro.
That part I'm not very sure.
30 is the new 20, man. 40
no, because I think it's a little bit of a transitionary kind of thing. Singapore government always like to do this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Step in, transitionary,
help
all that
the
jazz.
young people first,
help the young people. Not say help the young people. I think it's more like the young people have a much longer runway to go, right? So if at 30 you are doing Grab and all that, not saying it's an insult or anything.
Yeah.
It just means that you're not part of the national strategy, right? Which is to package you for MNC, right?
Yeah.
That's the national strategy.
Correct.
So if you're not part of it, then but your future still matters, right? Because if you don't do well, broader social impact is there.
Yeah.
So I think there's some element of that. Exactly, the thought process is not very clear as to why only 30 and younger or older.
But there were rumblings about that being an issue, right? It has been an issue that has been brought up.
Yeah. The Grab drivers are one of the biggest protesters. Have you not seen?
Oh no, I think I've seen
it.
But CPF is a double-edged sword in the sense that they also have to co-contribute, right? So there's also less take-home for them.
Yes.
That's why the Grab, you said there was protest, right? They were
not recent, not against this, but the Grab drivers are very organized that way. I don't know if you know the Grab delivery drivers.
Oh, no, I don't.
Organized.
They don't have a union, but they're very organized.
I know quite a lot of them listen to. I mean, quite a lot of platform workers have reached out to us saying they listen to this podcast on their deliveries and
that's great.
Rides and all.
Have you not seen the Jurong? They gathered at the MP, meet the MP.
Yes,
that's a few years ago.
But that was for the PMD.
Yeah,
issue.
for the PMD stuff, right? So
yeah.
I think to date, that's one of the latest, most organized kind of pressure campaign in that sense.
Okay.
And I don't come in the derogatory way, right? It's just like you're just trying to pressure your MP to do something for you.
Yeah. In fact, so this one, do you think is something that they would protest, like this CPF?
I don't know. You gotta ask them. We can comment on Reddit, right?
That's true.
Comment on Reddit. See what do you think. But I think CPF has updated its system over time already, right? So there was a period of time it was a bit not as updated, right? Not so good, right? But I think over the past decade, it has shifted its stance, you know. And the bigger problem here is it keeps shifting. So it's not, people don't feel consistent. People don't feel like I cannot plan. So it's very, very it's like a random girlfriend, right? Keep changing.
You mean across the board or just for the CPF policies?
I mean, over the past 2 decades, 2-3 decades, there's been a lot of changes. But if you think about it, if you don't change, then it's a shit show, right? In other words. So then if you want to change, then you affect some people that actually plan with that in mind.
Correct.
Right? And so it's an endless tussle. I don't enjoy being in their shoes.
Okay, but for sure, it's for the platforms like Grab or that, it's not a good thing that they have to contribute more.
I mean, the Grab guys went out and talked about it, right?
The company.
I think was it Grab or there was some platform companies that came out and talked about it slightly earlier, not now.
Okay.
It was just like maybe a year ago or like a few months ago. There was some chatter around it. They talk about we are not then something about Grab versus comfort. Something like, if you have to do this to us, why you not doing that to like Comfort driver?
Comfort don't?
I thought they do. They don't. Comfort doesn't.
I don't know exactly.
Okay.
But it's more like because I think Comfort don't because it is a rental arrangement. Right. So the Comfort driver, they rent the car from the taxi company or whichever taxi company, and then they are self-employed in that sense. So they are technically not platform worker. That means whether they work or not, it it doesn't directly impact their
the money
their performance.
Money goes to them directly.
Yes, not to the platform, and then the platform take a cut, and then all that stuff, and then the platform endlessly changes incentive structure to get you to work more or less, right? So it's different, and I kind of understand why it's different.
So I mean, that one is kind of like the regulations and enforcement around that hasn't been made public yet, lah. It's just that this is what will be happening.
Right. I mean, we need to wait for the COS, right? It's a committee of supply. You know, so so Lawrence's speech is the first one, and then there's a debate, and then committee of supply, blah blah blah, and then from there, then the final policies will come out.
So you're saying the debate will be the next parliamentary sitting, lah? Or will there be a specific debate for this budget? No, right?
Every budget have committee of supply discussion.
Yeah.
So I think it's next week or the week after.
COS.
Yeah, COS.
Well, the way it just rolled off your tongue. When you said, we got to wait for COS, suddenly I was shot back to my army days. Wait for the complete orderly sergeant to dismiss you all that kind of shit. I was like,
true.
Fuck, man.
COS, At first, when they were saying, waiting for COS, I was like, COS? When I heard, I also, COS, very familiar, this word. That's like, committee of supply. So it's a different COS.
It's not just me who felt like that.
So the committee of supply comprises who?
Essentially, is everybody in parliament to talk about it.
Right.
So the ministry will come out and say like, this is the plan, blah blah blah, and then you debate accordingly.
So there will be
so it's the nitty-gritty.
And it's next year.
No, next week. Next week. Next year we'll come back again for another budget. Okay.
I'm losing track of
But World Cup every 4 years. 4 years to talk about.
I think it's next week or the week after lah. I got that. It's very close. After the speech, then. Yeah, committee of supply law, and then we'll talk about it.
I see.
So taking care of Grab, the platform workers, was one thing that stood out to you.
No, it's not so much about taking care of platform workers. It's a shift in stance that I thought was interesting.
So what is that shift?
Because in the past, the platform workers were considered like not a proper kind of work, considered transitionary job or something, right? So, and then now once you CPF it, that means you're taking to say that this is a proper work.
Yeah, it's proper work.
Right? So then how is it going to shape up in terms of career choices, in terms of like government policies, labor policies around it. So that means this is only the start, more will come, right? And once you like take it as this is proper, then all your legislation need to step in, right? It cannot just be CPF, right? So then all the regulations will come in. What's going to happen?
Leave and everything.
Like if you want to stop Grab, must issue like paper like 2 months notice or something.
I don't know.
I mean, who knows, right? There might be more more protection both ways, lah.
Yeah, but it's a frontier, right? In other words, right? It's new. It's a new situation. Governments tend to be a bit slower to new things. Of course, you let the market play.
And it's not going
right?
away, lah. It's not going away.
I think that's the signal. It's not going away, and it's gonna be here. So why not let us take this seriously rather than think of it as like, people just come here because now they're in between jobs, while they study and upskill or whatever, then they do a little bit of this and then they move on. No, you're seeing people that do this,
so and that's why Grab is gearing up for the fight, lah. Is literally hiring politicians to gear up for this fight, lah. This fight is coming.
That is true.
Winter is coming.
Yeah,
it starts
that
with this platform workers.
Because it's too coincidental that the thing got announced a week before the budget. They were like, all right, before you draw your cards, right, we draw ours.
This is my powers.
DPM, what you got, Lawrence? What you got?
No, but I heard that the idea was it wasn't meant to go public. Right? Like it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it was just
hush. It was leaked by Amy Cole giving a speech at the Chinese New Year lunch for Grab.
So helpful, Amy Cole.
Then the reporters all what?
That's
what
happened. So helpful. Do you remember she fried rice without rice?
Oh yeah. Those videos during COVID, right?
During COVID. And then behind got three of eggs. She needs help, right? Okay, when I look at these guys, I don't think they're evil, okay? But sometimes I think they're really very bad at this thing. Right?
Very bad at what specifically? Like, out of touch with.
I mean, maybe some of them you can consider them out of touch, but also it's just the optics is horrible, right? The way they do it.
Because there was almost an egg shortage.
They try to be cute, right? Exactly. It was the egg shortage situation,
correct.
But I think in especially they are not like social media native, right? So to them it's like, hey, not bad, wow, quite cute, connect with my
it's like
my populace.
That uncle and auntie of yours who sends a weird WhatsApp message.
Exactly.
But the thing is, given that they are a public figure, right? Sorry, you need to go take skills future social media 101 course or something.
I mean, I'm sure after all this they are So they're improving.
But you were saying you were surprised by the shift in stance because you wouldn't have imagined it being something that they would have done.
No, because they went on multiple speeches over the years to talk about this. Because I think was it WP or one of their opponents actually came out to talk about take platform workers seriously, right?
Yeah.
And for a long time the defense was like, oh, we just see platform workers as transitionary. It is not a full-time kind of thing. Right? But now they have shifted their stance, right? So to me it's like, oh, okay, interesting. It's not like revolutionary, but it's like, oh, okay, you guys shifted.
So you see that as a positive thing,
depends on who you talk to.
Depends on who you talk
because
to.
if you believe that the CPF system is good, you know, that it has enough to kind of protect you all the way to the end of life, which is on some level, CPF Life is an annuity program to the end of your days. I don't know if you guys know. Right? That means CPF Life is a program that they will keep paying you until you die. Right?
Provided you have a certain amount.
So you have an amount in front, and then the payment is all the way to the end of your life, right? So that is the state bearing some risk, you know, because you don't know how long you're gonna live, right? And many of us will be centenarians, supposedly based on the NUS Care research.
Oh, is it?
NUS.
They project that.
They project that our generation, most people will be 90, close to 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we only want.
I'm not sure if it's really that shook. I mean, you see that.
No, I didn't say shook. I said shoots.
but
living at 90.
Crazy.
But shook in the sense that now the 80s will be the new 70s, lah. So
I don't think that's how it works, lah, bro. By then
that's what I'm hoping for, Reggie. Don't shit on my dream, okay? Don't.
But then you damn shag already, right? Like you cannot even travel. You cannot even do as much. You know.
No, but you see like 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds now traveling and all. I mean, not all lah, but some. So then it'll be like the 70s and 80s lah. Then maybe a couple of decades down the road, they'll be like, oh, if you're
30s and 40s are already different already. You still want to say like 60 and 70 is the same? No lah, right? I don't think so.
It's true, but you're seeing athletes like LeBron James, Roger Federer play until 40.
True.
Then you're seeing actors like Tom Cruise looking like they're 30 years old and still jumping off cliffs at almost 60, right?
No, but those guys pay an ass amount of money to maintain that. I think the mass cannot. Most of us will not be able to do that.
See, like, hopefully budget 2086, we will still
be here. We'll still be here. But then we'll have loads of sponsors. Everything is sponsored, right? We will be the beacon show to go to.
The beacon show, 2086. Welcome to the 2086. Literally.
Okay, but besides that thing about the shift in perspective on platform workers, like what else also stood out to you?
I think the other most interesting one is the buyer stamp duty. For property that's $1.5 million and above, right? Whether is it commercial, residential, industrial property.
So will you consider this an increase in the taxes on luxury goods?
Yeah, I will consider this a continued shift to tax wealth. Right? Remember last time we talked about it, right? Like supercars, you know, we're joking about it. Hey, Lawrence, correct. Right? I buy the car first, then you tax. Right? So it's a continued shift to tax wealth, but in a more subtle way.
But you mean, so it's 1.5 million, meaning only private properties above 1.5 million will be additional taxes on the transaction, on the transaction cost. And I mean, as additional
on the price, buyer stamp duty. And it's not additional, that means it's going to permanently change the buyer stamp duty.
And even if it's your first property, or if you own another property,
it doesn't matter.
So the moment you buy something that is worth 1.5,
private lah. If it's
private.
HDB, then you won't.
So far, 1.5
I mean, they hope that there's no $1.5 million HDB lah, right? And they better do something about it. I think the groundswell is quite bad already.
It's fucking crazy,
at this point in time.
You're talking about groundswell about the
HDB prices? I think it's very bad already. So if it gets to 1.5 million, I'm quite sure we have a protest on the street.
Protest?
Yeah. Hey, it's 1.5 million. It's nuts, you know. Like, and okay, like not the one-off Bishan, you know,
like you see
next to the Bishan Park. No, not that kind of one-off. But like if en masse, you're seeing property prices move up.
Like now the $1 million threshold, like $1 million HDB now is like, another $1 million HDB.
Yeah.
Another $1 million.
Who wants to stay at Yishun for me? Shout out to you if you are one of that person. Yes.
You live in Yishun, please DM Reggie about why Yishun.
Yeah, tell me.
Yishun's
Come on my show, I will interview you. Like,
Yeah.
why Yishun $1 million property? Right?
But so I mean, sorry, just to go back to that, the luxury taxing, and you're seeing that as an overall shift in towards like really
Taxing
putting
the
taxes
wealth.
on luxury
Yes.
wealth.
And taxing wealth, right? In other words, okay, the thing is, I know a lot of people are very unhappy about GST, everything. We had this conversation the other time.
Yeah.
Right? I understand, you know? But the idea here is very easy to tax flows,
Yeah.
right? Because once you transact, you know, it's very transparent. You see this money move, you can tax immediately. But it's very hard to tax wealth. Wealth is damn opaque. It's hidden in like multiple complex structures.
Correct.
Yeah.
You
Offshore
know,
companies.
offshore companies, free ports. You know about free ports?
Yeah.
It's all those kind of weird shit, right? So wealth is very hidden, very hard to track. You know, but in Singapore, I think the interesting part is there law in the property law.
Yeah.
So it's there, right? And the government has essentially doubled down on this stance, right? To tax wealth through taxing property.
Yeah.
Right?
But honestly,
So-
like, we were just even kidding about it that night, that Valentine's Day, probably a lot of dates with property agents were interrupted when they suddenly, hey, I got a call from my client, they want to transact tonight.
Because you personally know someone who.
Yeah, I
did
know
that.
friends, family who, essentially that night they plonked down 6 million for a luxury place because they wanted to save I think $60,000, that 1%, right?
Fuck, it's like the Lazada 11/11 sale for me. The night before, I'm like, oh shit, okay, let me buy this vacuum.
So
Just buy a property.
Yeah, that's why these days a lot of the MND policy, Ministry of National Development, right, which manages HDB, they always come very late at night one. And it's an immediate effect.
So you don't have time to
Yeah,
rent that kind of
so
thing.
there's no, so it will come like 11 something or like 10 something, and then they'll release this policy and say it will have immediate effects. tonight.
Serious?
Yeah, because they learn what they
that night
know.
apparently there were still 40 transactions reported that happened that night.
You know.
Luxury condos. So.
Yeah, but you get the idea, right?
Yeah,
you don't want people to you don't want the agents to go and fan the flames. Hey, you should buy now. You should buy now.
Maybe 2024 budget will start at 9 p.m.
Yeah. I mean, then you know problem.
then you know
then you know this
some
one
shit
signal.
coming.
This shit's happening, right? But better do now. Right?
But that's where I wanted to ask also. I mean, for these people just dropping $6 million in one night, I mean, $60,000 honestly is like it's some change to them also, right?
But
No, but bro, in absolute terms, 60,000 can still do quite a bit.
it can, yes.
Right? In relative, it's chump change.
Yes.
But really, you take the 60,000, you go out. It's still a lot of things we can do with it, right? So, rich people also want to value for dollar, right?
They can do €1 trip, business class back.
True.
There, have a trip.
True. Or pay 1/10 of a mayor's salary. Annual salary, right?
No, but according to that mayor, 60K is also slightly less than half typical Singaporeans' household income. lah.
He's talking about
Denise,
Denise
Denise
Phua,
Phua,
she made
'Cause,
that comment.
Uh,
That what 150K or 140K, maybe 1 to 2 years annual income you can
of
pay
one's annual income.
Yeah,
Of
one's
You know what's the
annual
best thing? I got multiple DMs to ask me to talk about that.
income.
Yeah, I know.
Have you spoken about that?
have
You don't
not-
dare to talk
I
about
have-
it.
Come on,
Come
I
on,
have-
let
I
it
have-
out.
Come on.
Okay,
come
let
on.
it out.
Okay,
Give us your candor,
I'm
okay,
gonna
Reggie.
give you my take, right? I think what she's saying is the mortgage, like down payment. Right? So on the mortgage down payment it's not wrong, right? 10%, let's say down
Correct,
payment.
correct.
Yeah, lah, 2 years
She
you
said
can
to
you
pay
can
off
get.
the amount.
Yeah, I know. I know.
This is not some auntie sending a message in a WhatsApp group.
And that's the thing, right? I know why people say that. And I understand, right? She has to hold herself to higher standards in terms of clarity of discussion that way, right? And I agree, but I will let her slip on that, lah. Just on this one where it's like, most people, when they think of buying property, it's really a 10% mortgage first, right? Like down payment first before you participate in the mortgage. Not many people think like, we're gonna just throw full cash into that thing.
Yeah, true.
Right?
True.
So
what
I will give her that lah. I'm just so what I'm saying is she's saying that okay, if it's 100,000+, then 2 years can get down payment.
Can cover the
Right? Can go down, which is 10 plus 20,000, right?
Such a compassionate individual.
No, I'm not.
No, that's why I was like, wow, he's giving her a lot of slack. He's giving her a
You
lot
want
of
on your
slack.
podcast. You want on your podcast.
Okay, Denise, come lah. Denise, you come with Pei Ling.
Come
Okay,
and
just come.
explain.
Just
I
come and
stand for
explain.
you.
Come. We talk. No, but this one I can give it to her because I think that's how most people think about buying a property.
I in some ways I also try not to give too much. I don't want to skewer her for that because she's talking sort of off the cuff. She's going off the back of an envelope kind of calculations. You see, so maybe there's some calculation in mind thinking about something like that, and maybe it just came out wrong that way, lah. But I mean, like Harish says, they need to be held to a higher standard.
Yeah, fair. I do agree. I do agree with that, but I don't think it is like like that's the optics, lah.
Yeah,
you know. I mean, it's like Graceful, right? She was debating James on the carbon tax.
Yeah.
Right. And then they went on this like spiel back and forth, and then Pritam stand up and say, excuse me, I don't think this is how it works, right? Right.
Yeah,
and do you want to like catch Grace on that? No, she's just like in the heat of the moment. Yeah. She's just talking and just letting it fly. If I do it, I will also do it that way. Right. So they're all just, doing their job in that sense. I will not hold her to say, hey, she never follow structure, everything. Pritam came out and say, and then she followed lah. She was reminded by it, right? So that's the thing about debates, right? And when you play it live, then the internet takes it down a different path.
And at least she was really trying to deal with what was put in front of her by the opposition. Like, look at the numbers. Whereas there were some of the MPs who were like, oh, I come and sing song. Can I sing a song? I can make stupid jokes like that. And I was like, wow,
you mean potong pasir? Yeah, horrible. Yes. But on that point of the $1.5 million property tax, right? I think it's a continued shift to the left, to the economic left, right? So it's taxing the wealthy, spending on the mass, right? So to me, it's a continuation of supercar tax, continuation of like having a higher differential of like tax when it comes to like non-owner occupied property. That means you don't stay there as an investment property. Then now more of this thing. So it's all a continued shift to the left.
But and I think that's why I don't know, I haven't seen much backlash towards that ABSD lah.
It's BSD, buyer stamp duty. It's not ABSD.
Okay, BSD,
so
correct.
Additional, that means there are certain prerequisites. Buyer stamp duty means everything.
The additional is on the next property.
Second property, and additional can change. Yes.
Because I think also, if there was backlash, it would be a very easy thing to rebut lah. Who are the people giving the backlash? Is the people who can afford it lah, right? So that's why I think it's one of those like, okay lah, suck thumb, just have to deal with. Because it's if you go by 80% Singapore housing, it's already out of reach for a lot of people, right?
Yeah. And to be fair, I don't think it's as much of a suck thumb moment for the wealthy. I do think that they have very close interaction with the government. And I don't mean it in a like, the government is like ivory tower, just talk to the wealthy. No, but they do have a lot of interaction with like the business owners, the bigger organization leaders, right? So on some level, I believe that they already know. Maybe not like they don't know exactly what's the policy, but probably the government has gone out and they say, hey, blah blah blah. You see a lot of the narrative when they do it because they don't need to sell to the mass. To the mass, it's like this is how it should be done. Right? There's no need to sell to the mass to say that we need to tax the rich. No, the mass want you to tax the rich. Right? Exactly. So they don't need to sell that, but they need to comfort the rich, right? In that sense, like, hey, if you make better, you contribute more. So that's the narrative shift, right? Since the last budget specifically, right? So and I think they've done it.
And probably not just the budget, right? It's in the lead up to the budget also. Because there has been more and more conversations about taxing the wealthy.
And randomly, you have like mainstream media that picks up, articles here and there that try to say like, the rich is paying more tax, blah, blah, blah. When I look at it, it's like, please lah. That's not, I don't agree with the optics, but when I think about it, okay lah, you comfort the rich. Also okay lah.
And you do it incrementally lah. Right? You suddenly go like 5% or like
I'm gonna shift. Right. So it's like boiling water slowly, kind of situation.
Well, do you feel bad for those Singaporeans who have sort of dragged themselves up rags to riches story, and now they wanted to buy their first supercar or something, but now they're like, fuck, I cannot again. Do you feel bad for those people?
I don't. I don't. Right? You don't want, then you just buy a supercar in Johor.
What was the specific change there? It is that there will be an additional registration fee for higher end cars, with luxury cars being taxed at a higher rate. So they're probably set. Like, what defines a luxury car?
That was last year's budget.
Oh, that was last year's budget.
Yeah, last year's budget, not this year.
Is it?
I think this year got something else.
Something else
on the cars.
There was a preferential ARF rebate will also be kept at 60,000. I don't think that's the one, because I do know there was something about the higher taxes for supercars.
There's even more this year?
Yeah, this year budget, bro.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, okay, so those two things. I mean, the one thing that we did talk about on the previous episode was the support for families, lah. We did talk about that, but there's one thing which I also wanted to ask is, you know, the enhanced assurance package, right? Yeah. So
not very assuring, huh?
So maybe you can give the I don't know, the financial way of looking at it, because it feels like there's the in Singapore, like, I don't know about other governments, but when they want to increase taxes, they give these handouts. But it feels like at some point these handouts will end lah, or like and I know Lawrence Wong also himself has said this is not sustainable. But is there anything around that stuck out to you? Like, or were you expecting there to be some handouts again?
No, I think whatever that they have given out this round is really just to adjust for inflation. That's it. Right. So it's a one-off adjustment for inflation, which is why I'm very concerned why they say they're gonna give a Valentine's Day gift. You know, because when you factor that in, it's just like, because everything more expensive, give me a little bit more, okay lah. So it's not to like really give you a gift. You know what I mean? Like it's not like to make your life a little bit better. It's just trying to make sure your life doesn't become worse.
It's Saizeriya, like,
you know,
not
Saizeriya. So I think that's the narrative problem, you know, and yeah, it is broadly aligned with how they usually do things, right?
But can I just get your personal perspective on this? Because I think during the whole COVID period as well, you spent quite a bit of time out of Singapore as well, right? Is the inflation problem here really worse than other places and all that?
No, right. The Sing dollar has been a bit stronger, right? So there are two contexts that I think people need to realize. One thing is we don't grow anything here, right? And we all know. In other words, we buy from outside.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if we buy from outside, then we are essentially importing inflation.
Yeah.
Right? Because outside prices become more expensive.
Yeah.
And then we import the inflation into Singapore.
Yeah.
Right? And why prices outside become more expensive, it gets very complicated, the discussion, you know, because commodity prices move up, financial capital flood in, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of those things. We don't need to go there. Okay, so in other words, when we import inflation, there's a way to curb this, which is to strengthen our dollar, right? Make our currency stronger, and then we can kind of mitigate that differential, right? So we have done that, right? James talked about it. I think MOF has come out and said that they will do that. They strengthen the dollar. MAS came out and say they strengthen the dollar, which we've done that.
Yeah.
So the financial impact is not as much. It could have been way worse, right? But okay, that's the part that I on some level I pity them, because they just increased GST 1%, but everything else is like 10% up. Right, and that's the part that it gets very convoluted. It's like,
you mean everything else,
like cost of living, all the prices.
And you pity who? Sorry, you
pity whoever that's ruling, lah. Right? So it's like very hard, right? It's like I only want to increase 1%.
Yeah,
but all the merchants increase 10-20%.
Yeah,
then it looks like it's my problem. Yeah, in me, you know. But actually, I only want 1%, right? And some of the 1% I still give you like GST voucher or that to offset, you know. But it just looks horrible on me.
Yeah,
right, because everybody else increased their price. Right, so I think the bigger problem is price gouging, and not so much about government. It's like, what is the committee of price gouging doing? Right, we set up a committee.
There's a committee
for price gouging. Right, I think it was last year.
Holy shit!
Yeah, the parliament.
Literally COPG.
I don't know exactly what's the.
Let me Google.
There's a committee that is trying to like control price movements.
Okay.
Right, so it's recently set up only. It's just for this. Right, and I was like, what are you all doing? That means you're not there's not enough punishment, or there's not enough regulation to dampen, you know, opportunistic price gouging. Right, so that is the bigger problem.
In what places have you personally seen price gouging? Not your Cai Peng store, 10 cents more, 50 cents more. Where do you see
Cai Peng store got quite a bit more? Like, you don't think so?
It is
some
price
Cai Peng store.
Yeah. No, but okay, let's be clear. The smaller merchants, right, they got no choice.
Yeah.
They are really price
else,
takers. They are just pushing it down.
Yeah.
Right. It is the people at the earlier part of the supply chain, your big traders, right? The people that bring in all the stuff, because we don't grow.
Yeah.
So people that bring in, sometimes they grow and they also control the supply chain, and then they come in all the way.
Yeah.
Right. So those guys.
Everything compounds.
Everything compounds. So there's that. And it's really more of the big boys, you know, that I play. Your software companies, you know, your loans, all those things. They are more. It's more of them than the Cai Peng auntie lah. Cai Peng auntie is like, supplier increase my price, I no choice. After 10 years keep increasing, I have to pass down.
Yeah.
And that's the narrative with them, right? They're the small merchants. It's the big guys at the top. They are doing a lot of this kind of stuff.
So we shouldn't be angry with the type of auntie lah. It's not their fault lah.
I mean, you can be angry, you know. You have all right.
Can post on Storm,
to be up to you. Go for it.
Can
Okay.
post on Storm when I get rice, one vegetable, one meat cost $9. Can post
And
on
then
Storm.
cannot pay with cashless payment. Only cash only. Wow.
Yeah.
Poor
Yeah.
Kelvin
Name and
Cheng,
shame.
I tell you.
Wow.
No, and just to clarify, is the committee against profiteering, like
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Which means price gouging.
I know, but
lah.
I can't imagine the word gouging in an official committee.
Yeah, okay,
name,
okay. But it means price gouging.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Against
Committee of-
profiteering, it's price
Against
gouging.
profiteering.
Right? It's like, what's all the euphemism?
Yeah.
It's like, food insecure. Hungry, say hungry. What food insecure? Right? It's like, but yes.
Wait, sorry, can we finish your that thought you're saying about why so in Singapore is not worse than elsewhere. So elsewhere that you were visited and you lived in during COVID and all, you also saw similar instances of inflation and really people being hit by high prices also lah.
Yeah, it is. I think the worst is Turkey, right? I was in Turkey because the lira crashed. Right? So right after the gates of the world opened up, I left, right? Like, wow, Turkey. So I think that's very, very bad because the experience was when I bought bread, right? Bread, whatever sum I bought it at. Immediately after I bought, the lady boss took down the sign, go to the back and change the price.
Is it?
And the price just went up like that in an instant.
Wow.
And that's the biggest manifestation of inflation in front of you.
You were there when the lira crashed.
I was there. I specifically went there to experience the lira crash.
Oh wow.
Right, because I don't like it that people just use all the textbook examples, right? It's very high up. A lot of like idea, mathematical formula. But you go down there and really see the impact on the life of the people, right? Yeah, there's that lah. Right. So I think it's quite bad. But I can argue that they are a little bit more the anomaly because their home currency crashed. Right? But across the board, if you live in countries that produce things, inflation is not as bad.
Yeah.
Especially when the rice futures move much lesser than the wheat futures. I don't know if you guys understand this thing. So essentially, all these commodities are traded on like financial markets, right? So they get financialized lah. Then all these financial people like speculate their shit out of them, right, to make money. So actually, the rice prices are more stable because a lot of the rice production is firstly in this part of the world, between Vietnam and Thailand. And at the same time, they are not tied into the financial market as much because they never do futures on those rice.
There's no market for
there is rice futures, but it's not as much as like the wheat future. So you can think about it as all the wheat producers, right? They are tied into the financial market. So on one end they produce wheat, right? On the other end they have a trading arm that speculate wheat prices.
So when you say the futures is basically on any given crop, my understanding, like any given crop, they kind of predict what the price of that will be in 1 year or 2 years.
Yeah, and then
they lock it in lah.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of things in the middle of like how do you speculate this market and all that. So without that, okay, with more rice out of the futures market, rice prices are just more stable. Right. So so when you look at it, as long as you live closer to production, then it is cheaper lah.
I see.
So you look at the whole Asia region, it's much cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, this whole thing, like the whole GST thing, ever since they announced it, I also did feel the same way, like, wow, it is, especially when you look at the prices of everything else going up, the 1% thing, it is a tough sell.
Yes.
It is a tough sell, even though, like, it could go higher. But the 1% already, I feel, wow, this one, their comms, their politicians, all they have to work fucking hard to sell.
It's an impossible sell. I mean, I would even say it's an impossible sell.
Yeah.
As much as I don't disagree with the policy, I just think it's sway lah.
Yeah.
Very hard sell. Very, very hard sell. And it's falling flat. Like the selling process is falling flat. Right? But then if now politically, if you come out and say, okay, we will delay, you lost.
Yeah.
So it's politically painful. So it's between a stone and a hard place, right?
Yeah,
in other words, right? It's either you take political hit for delaying or the people on the ground unhappy.
Yeah. But you say you lose if they say, oh, we delay a bit. But wouldn't it also show that you're a bit more compassionate and you care about,
this is a calculated move, right? In a political sense. When you do this kind of big shifts, right? Because you send many people on already. Like your whole kampong went out and say, no, we must do this, we must do this. And then now you say, oh, actually, okay, never mind, we delay. wow, this optics is horrible. You lose political points, and the opponent can just take and say, oh, you see, government not compassion.
So it's a bit like saying, oh, no, my job got no conflict of interest. Then, oh, actually, it changed.
It must go back. Must go back there, right?
Yeah. Because I think that's the closest example recently of like, like, oh, there's no problem. Oh, then actually maybe
and almost the act of acknowledging that it was a problem make questions your original judgment.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas if you
correct.
stick with it, you're like, we have conviction, we are going to be resolute, we are going to make it work, which in some way is easier to stomach.
You see, it is.
Yeah,
it is easier to stomach. So
yeah.
instead of shifting, then they come out and give you all these kind of cushion policies, which is probably what is deemed as the gift. But the $300 here, here and there, is really not that much of a gift. It's just inflation adjustment, right? So that your way of life is not depreciated, but you're not gonna be like better off just because of that.
So basically, what you're saying is Grab and Tin Pei did the correct thing by keeping the relationship going,
I will say
they
yes.
didn't back down, or they didn't.
I will
back
say
down.
yes.
Oh,
I will say yes.
But
yes.
change title,
Change title.
Yeah.
So they should
Small
call
compromise.
GST something else, is it?
No.
The government service tax stays at 7%, but we have this inflation tax at 1%.
No.
AGST.
No, don't. AGST. No.
You buy your first egg is normal GST. Every additional
Second
egg
tray
is the AGST.
Yeah, the third tray got more.
Sorry, Amy call. No third tray for you. No third tray of eggs.
No, but honestly, if they were to do something like that, of course, all the copy and all the communications will be hard.
Yeah.
But I think that would be more palatable, the GST and AGST.
No. So, structurally, I mean, we had this, right? Remember the other time we were talking about it. How about exempting
certain goods.
there's
and all that.
necessities, right?
Yeah,
And then we talked about it, right? Because then how do you know, like, is this wholemeal bread atas or normal?
Yeah.
Or is all atas bread also considered normal bread?
Yeah.
So it's exempted, right? So it's just hard, right? When you do some of those things and you encourage certain behaviors,
Yeah.
right? So is that what you want? I don't know.
So okay, so we've covered like the workers, the assurance package. There was the thing about let's see, I mean, so you dissected it. You said the first 20 minutes was that sort of tone. A few things stuck out to you, but by the end of all the research and dissecting you have done, what else struck you, or or the responses from the public, the responses from the internet? Anything else stood out or not?
Actually, I think the internet this round is a little bit more dampened. Right? It's not as excited. It's like a bit more like depressed in terms of the energy of looking at it.
Do you think that's the nature of the budget, or just everything else around with the circumstances of the world right now? People going back to the workforce.
I think it's both. It's both, because you very busy now, right? Very hard to care, and then there's nothing interesting in the budget, or nothing outstandingly interesting in the budget. So why would you care, right? So it's relatively dampened. But I do see a corner of the internet that start to talk about like, oh, why is the government dipping their hands into our pockets? Like the very right wing view.
What
of
sort
things,
of our pockets? That means
tax more. Why tax so much? Like keep
tax
taxing,
more. I see.
so that you can spend. So it's a very right wing view, or at least how most economic right would think of as right wing today. Like small government ideal, very Republican rubbish.
Very Republican.
Yeah.
So that's why. I mean, based on that and based on what you said earlier about the government kind of becoming more left. I mean, I think, like, if you ask me personally, when Lawrence Wong also was designated as the next PM, it already did feel a bit more left.
Why?
Because, I don't know, maybe it's just the way he communicates, the way he delivers messages.
Yes.
It feels softer.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a very qualitative trait that makes it feel more left.
Yeah.
Because if you exhibit a bit more compassion, I mean, I think it's also the theatrics of it, right? If you're a bit more compassionate, I don't know, it just feels more left. Whereas the right feels like, that.
I get it. I mean, Sugar Daddy Heng cannot even drink coffee properly, right? Did you see his video?
Which one?
He did one video like Happy New Year or something like
but
that.
Also
right?
was suspected.
He was awkward.
But he had some issues or suspected health issues or something.
At that point in time already.
I don't know. I don't
know. He was so awkward. Like he didn't even drink. He turned around and gave the cup of coffee away. So it's. I mean, theatrics aside, right? So I'm cognizant of the value of theatrics. Like how how narratives shape public sentiment. We all want to be talked in a way where it's palatable for us.
Yeah.
So I get that. But I always caution people, like, you cannot just look at theatrics.
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Because you can sugarcoat a shit, it's still shit.
But that's the tricky part about politics, right? Like sometimes you have so much info to digest. The thing you tend to hang on to is the theatrics.
Exactly.
And that's where it gets dangerous.
Yeah, that's why we are the beacon. Right? This show is the beacon, right? Like every year you tune in for budget, right? 2008 or they turn 2038 or something like that. Yeah. So I think that's I do agree with you, right? Because it's so complicated.
So
Sometimes
if you wipe off
it.
all the theatrics from this budget, like you would, it still sounds like it would be something that is a bit more okay, we have to. This is the situation, and this is what we are doing, as opposed to the rara or the inspiring kind of feel.
There's not as much rara.
But what was the budget like before COVID? Since you've been listening to budget for how long already? I never used to pay much attention.
So I think budget before COVID is a lot of more of the same in the sense that okay, we're gonna we get this much investment, we're gonna continue to double down. It's very trickle down. Right? There's a lot of trickle down in the iconic way that it is.
Yeah.
Raising productivity. This narrative we're going for 10 years, right? 10, 20 years. It's a lot of that. It's not as that's why I say recently there's a shift.
But also then I think COVID, everyone suddenly got used to, there's some announcements coming up from the MMT. Let's go and watch. Then literally every announcement in Parliament, every speech that Lee Hsien Loong was making, people were literally opening up YouTube to watch.
Yeah.
Which I think prior to COVID never happened. People weren't
it's
so
not as sexy.
Yeah,
and
previous
that don't have live stream also.
Correct.
So you're saying it's like people caught the first episode of this series called Parliament and they're like, actually not bad, huh?
Yeah. Actually, why need to watch Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Just
so then all the spin-off series like Budget and all that, you're like, hey, let me give this a shot. Whereas previously, and I think that also matters because you get a taste of this, you see how it impacts. Because COVID was like a compressed thing, right? They announced one thing, literally the next day you cannot leave your house, right? So it was like a 101 of when people make policy changes, it will impact you.
And then Raisa Khan also happened during that period as well.
Yeah.
And everything,
And so you're saying that was the.
I mean, Raisa Khan was a very big thing, right? Everyone was watching.
Everyone was interested
everyone wanted to see what she said and all that.
So maybe people have gotten a lot more comfortable about things happening in Parliament and if you literally watch the first few episodes of Parliament and you're like, shit, this show not bad, and going to have seasons forever. No?
Yeah. Forever running.
Will never be cancelled.
No budget cancellation. Right?
No budget cancellation.
We haven't spoken about one big thing that we did talk about, which is all the baby bonus stuff and young families and all. What were your thoughts when you saw what was being announced?
So firstly, I'm not a parent, right? So I cannot fully contextualize on that.
Okay, I can help you.
But I from what I hear from a lot of people, it's a very it's a good to have, right? Good lah, not bad lah, okay? But it's a very cost strategy to try to solve a complex problem.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's like okay, you give me very good, okay, I'll take extra few thousand, great. But the problem is a lot more complicated than what a few $1,000 can solve.
Yeah. So I mean, one big example is early childhood care. The preschools. It's not under MOE lah, for example. So there's a lot of variation in the quality of the schools, and there's no standard for what's the ratio between teachers and children, all that. And literally, from last year, this year, some schools, good schools and some private schools, $200 more per month for school fees. So literally, I'm not saying that it's price gouging, but
they are, right? What's our price gouging? Committee from profiteering,
the
right?
cap.
They should go and do it. Yes.
But at the same time, there's a very big labor crunch. They can't hire teachers. A lot of places are having trouble hiring teachers because, people don't want to have to go to office every day. And during COVID, these teachers were still going to work every day, all that kind of thing. So, I mean, it's just the reality of the situation, and it's who do you blame in that situation? Is it a structural thing? Is it the schools, or is it just the pay is not enough and things like that? So just throwing money at it is okay lah. But does it really solve the problem? It doesn't. No, that's the problem.
That's the problem, right? It's a very cost strategy to try to handle a complicated problem, right? And I mean, even people are saying let's stay at home moms leh. Right, it's the people that stay home not supported. Only people that work need support. Right, so it's very. It's very complex lah. It's way more complex than extra 3,000, directly from baby bonus and extra top up, $1,000 top up. Matching, right?
I know for a fact one thing that has, like what you said, that there's a shift towards a bit more to the left, right? That was very clear, was I think working mothers child relief where now they've kept it. It used to be a certain tax relief, a percentage of working mom's income. So imagine if you're a low income earner, you get much less tax relief that way, right? But if you're a higher income earner, because it's a percentage straight out, you get a lot more, right? But now they've kept it such that, not that they've kept it, they've raised it to $8,000 for lower to median income. But everyone else above, it just kept at $8,000 and nothing more. So a lot of people are saying, are you trying to... I mean, people are like, okay, it's good for lower to the median income, but are you sort of like capping an ambitious working mother's, ability, incentive to continue like taking a promotion, to continue rising up the corporate ladder? Because, that relief is kept for you already. Yeah.
The thing is, I don't think that's how ambitious working moms think. It's like, you're not going to be like, I'm not going to be so ambitious because the tax relief now lower.
No, I have one ambitious working mom friend who messaged me, and she's probably going to be listening to this also. This incentivizes working mothers who are climbing the corporate ladder and all. So it's not saying it will change. It won't be like that. Because of this, I'm not going to have a child. But it would signal. It would just be another thing like, okay.
Means government doesn't want me to be working out there. They wants me to be at home taking care of my children.
So that's why just now you're saying this is not how this one. I mean, we are a room of 4 guys,
Yeah. Sorry, optics. Don't cancel. It's okay. I think I feel very safe on this show. There are many other things that could have been cancelled already.
That's right.
But I do know that there are groups of mothers who are talking about this issue on Telegram and everything.
So I mean. I don't know how to feel about it. That's why it was just an interesting thing, because for the lower to middle income people, it is going to be a great help, right? It is going to be an increase, and this kind of follows the threat of taxing the rich, right? Because I mean, you provide less tax income relief. It's in a way
indirectly taxing
rate. So maybe it is like what you said. It's a signal. So there's the BSD, the rich luxury cars. Maybe it is going to be the trend going forward.
Yeah, it is. Right. It looks like it already. Right? But because of how the PAP built their platform, as with any other party, right? If today Workers' Party come out and shift their platform, they're going to lose supporters also.
Yeah, correct.
Right? So because PAP built their platform that way, so it's like they are like secretly shifting, like hush, not say secret, it's out there, but how you read it, right?
Yeah, gradually,
very gradual, and like not like, we're going to tax the rich, like that's not their platform, but everything that they do points towards taxing the rich. So that's how I look at it.
In terms of the delivery of everything that he delivered, what kind of grade would you give Lawrence Wong in terms of how he communicated it, the optics of it, and there's some hard messages in there that he had to put out as well. And how did he do it?
I think you asked that question last year.
I did.
We need to ask every year.
Like rate the reserves. There was that part, right? He I don't know how many.
He said it.
He said it.
Yeah, he said it. He said we shouldn't rate the reserves.
Yes.
Oh,
so before he went into,
that was part of the HDB debate only.
No,
he said it one more time.
Twice, I think. Twice. Right? One was in the earlier part, and then in the middle, before he changed into discussing one of the policies, he was like, this is why we shouldn't. The reserves is our sole protection, blah blah blah. The most important insurance, whatever, something along those lines. And we shouldn't rate the reserves, something like that, right? So, talking about diversification of supply chain.
That was to attract the investments and all, is it?
No. It's more like you want to buy goods from different places, so you want to stock up more. So
as part of
national security, right? Blah blah blah. So. And then I think he paused at one line and said that's why our biggest protection is our reserves, something like that, right? So he reiterated that. Overall,
out of what's the score?
As in grade, grade A, B, or C.
You're grading.
We must go back to last year also and compare your answer.
What we grade?
Can I give a B+, I think. Or something.
Okay. So maybe today is a B minus.
B minus.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, it's not about what he said. It's the expectation that he built up. previous. I mean, it's the same, right? Like you talk about like James' debate with Balakrishnan during their election debate, right?
Yeah.
Did James perform very well? Okay, he performed decent. But it's the unexpected. Like, wow, Workers' Party got someone like that. That really made it stand out. Right? So the expectation, the reality, it does affect how the ground feel, how people feel.
Now looking at the Valentine's Day thing was really quite a weird thing to say.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like, and I was like, Valentine's.
For something that is as polarizing as this, you know?
Yeah. I don't think it's polarizing. I think it's very
like
meh.
budget. No, as in the budget is a polarizing topic.
Okay.
But speaking of that also, then what do you think of setting up expectations, right? What do you think of, like, now there are people complaining why was so much spent on building up Lawrence Wong as like this grand figure using advertising. So the examples were, I think S-Gang did I think they did some like kind of K-drama kind of meme on Lawrence Wong, say, this is how you want to spend your Valentine's Day or something. And then I think a MediaCorp TikTok account they literally mixed the song and then they cut pictures of Lawrence Wong and like almost like making it out to be this is about Lawrence Wong, and I think there's some criticism saying like this is a national budget, it's a very serious topic, and we're not why are we building this like cult of personality around Lawrence Wong, a political figure. What do you think of the government spending money to do that, to try and get people interested to watch a budget if you take it at its most face value, that's what they're trying to do, get people like our audience and all that interested, excited to listen to the budget, like how you are excited to listen to the budget. You are like the model citizen that way.
No, I'm not.
You stream Parliament, Parliament do.
I'm not sure if they want people to stream Parliament. Yes. I think it's beyond the budget. I think it's not about the budget. I think it's really just building his image. Right. So if you think about it, Sugar Daddy Heng was removed, right?
Yes.
Whatever is being said, okay, whatever out there is, he removes.
Not step down, but removed.
Okay, that is how I look at it. Okay. But if they puff me to say he stepped down, okay, I can take back and say he stepped down. Right. So I'm not gonna harp on this thing.
Yeah.
Right. But he left in other words.
Yeah.
And they changed a new guy.
Yeah.
Right. And to be clear, Lawrence, before being known as the next Prime Minister, he actually came out and said the HDB flat is gonna be 99 years. And at the end, it's going to be a 0. So actually, those are suicidal moves, and when you run a political party, you only let the chat people do suicide move. It's true. All the very contentious debate, none of the big ministers will stand up and talk.
That is true.
Why would you want to sacrifice your big generals?
Yeah.
Right? If Shanmugam only talks about the things that like really matters.
Yeah. And
then some things is like, this one, the ground don't really agree, but we don't really have other choice. You get whoever, all the backbenchers go and talk. Right? So and this is how you run a party in this way.
Correct.
Right? So this is the inevitable part of things. It's not is this right, that's wrong. No, we're not going there, right? We're just talking about like this, how it's run. So Lawrence needs image revamp.
Oh, really?
You think so?
It needs to be built up. No, it's not so bad. It's just that he was not built for that at first.
But after COVID, his image,
MMTF
So this is a whole process. It's not a one-off. That's why I don't think it's for the budget. It's a whole process to build up his persona so that he becomes a legitimate figure to lead the nation.
But you're saying that like putting him at the front of MMTF was actually more to help him than to like, I mean, I thought being the head of MMTF for a while was like almost like being thrown under the bus. Like there was no good decision to be made during COVID. And every time like we see a lot of people saw his face like, what the fuck is he doing, that kind of thing. But you're saying that actually it was a calculated move to sort of
No, I think at first it was that idea.
Oh, to throw him under the bus.
Not say throw him under the bus, but you need not say test him, but you need someone to like tong the shit, right? Right. So then he's like, okay, Lawrence, you do lah. That kind of thing. Like,
then because he did well.
And then he like did quite well, right?
Yeah,
and then Heng didn't perform so well, right? And then the tables shift, right? As to why exactly ultimately it was him, there must be popular support.
Yeah.
There must be popular support.
And I mean, even personally, like it felt like when there was something about him, the way he delivered the messages.
That's why he has popular support, right? So
exactly.
he is doing very well in that sense. You can argue that he was nowhere near the seat, Like he was nowhere near this like prime minister to be.
So then why the need to build him up if he already came to the front row because of popular support?
I mean, not 100%.
It's not.
Well,
It takes time. These things takes time, right? On everything like from copying, mimicking speeches, drinking, everything like
his guitar playing. Or...
Yeah, all is staged. Okay, and I'm not saying is it good or bad. No, it's just like this is part of a process to build a persona for a leader to lead the nation. You need it,
and also a new generation kind of persona.
Yeah, probably
because
a new generation.
I cannot imagine if this was 10 years ago, partnering with a comedy brand to do videos.
Have they partnered with you?
Lawrence Wong, government, I mean, they've reached out. I mean, we have had some PAP ministers on our podcast.
Where are they on mine? They don't want to come on mine, right?
You got asked or not?
I got asked.
But it depends on what you're talking about. What do you want to talk about personal finance?
Cost of healthcare. I want to talk about cost of healthcare, sensitive. So it's very hard.
They can't surrender their generals to you.
That's too on the nose, Reggie.
Yeah, cannot Must do I don't
lifestyle.
know, CDC voucher or something.
No, you even say talk about lifestyle. Life as a politician, then you slip in one, slip in two.
I know, I realize that's how it needs to be done. So don't worry, y'all can come. Okay? I will work with you.
Yeah. So I mean, what was I saying? Oh, you're saying it takes time, like the new. I mean, what I was saying is that it feels like it's trying to cater also to the younger crowd, lah.
Yeah.
The more social media generation,
for sure, because that is the voting bloc, right? Yeah. So PAP has a very deep anchor in the older generation already, because during that period of time they did perform very well for the older generation. So there's a lot of buy-in there, right? Then now the younger generation requires them to sell a bit harder, right? So all these things are just part of building a political persona. It's not like right or wrong.
And also
it's
because the opposition, they are taking that approach as well. Like you see, every time there's an interaction, there's a debate and all, what you see on social media are the little clips that they're like mic drop moments. I think the most clear example was the Committee of Privileges with Raisa Khan and Pritam. After that whole 9-hour thing, all the clips that were online were like Pritam and his zingers. But if you watch the whole thing, you can see some issues with the WP arguments and all.
Fair.
Yeah, so I think the PB knows that they need to combat. That's why Ong Yi Kang do like karate video.
Muay Thai.
Oh shit, sorry. Muay Thai.
Kena Pofma.
That's right, Muay Thai.
Kena Pofma.
Imagine if I get Pofma for that. Yeah,
we will come in another episode, right? Talk about it.
He said karate instead of Muay Thai.
Yeah.
But so overall,
what's the great brief?
How do you feel about the future of Singapore and the economy after this budget? Because I think the last time we spoke about it, and you said that, I think you mentioned that, GST is we have to do it because we've been spending so much to fight COVID, all that. Have to, and it's just prudent to do it. So when you see something like this Valentine's Day gift that Lawrence Wong has given us, what do you feel about the next year or two ahead?
I think, firstly, we need to move away from that. This is a gift. It's a very bad gift, right? If you talk about from a gift perspective, we move away from that, okay? Yeah. So whoever PR narrative fails.
It's like when you get the can of butter cookies for for housewarming or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like,
it's a nice gesture.
Like, very nice, but so we move away from that, okay? So that is out of the way. But I like that he's a bit more clear with the people.
Clear.
In a sense that time's gonna be hard. Right?
He's not buttering it up.
Yeah, he's not. Other than the Valentine's Day gift. Right. So he, at least I think he's more clear with the people to say that, hey, it's gonna be hard, we don't have an easy way out of this. Although he does not go all out to establish that part. But I think it's quite clear already.
So generally you're feeling optimistic.
No, generally I feel like it's a reality check, which is a great place to start. Okay. Right. If you're not clear with the people, then the people don't know what to do, right? In that sense. Right. So with that reality check, then it's all tied to the whole forward SG movement, all that. It's all a reality check, right? Trying to get more ground feedback. Because like it or not, if they don't do that, they're gonna lose power. Right? The groundswell is big. Right. So it is a political move. I agree with the move. Right? I think they should do that. And I'm very glad that they're doing that. Whether or not we can ultimately come out in a way that is stronger as a nation and all that is for the next few discussions as we go along and develop. But at least to me, right, it's a good start lah.
Mm.
You know, like, okay, you know, it's not like the citizens don't know, you know, that kind of thing.
So just curious, because I think you talk to a lot of people who are interested in about, you know, a lot of these policies and how it affects them, their pockets and everything, right? So when you say groundswell, like you are talking about, you know, who are you talking about that you've heard from or you are seeing on the ground, or is it internet comments? Or, of course, for me, I would admit it's internet comments lah. And Reddit is a very small subsection of the Singapore population.
Yeah.
So when I say groundswell, it was that internet intelligentsia kind of thing. But for you, when you say groundswell,
internet intelligentsia,
wow. Maybe not even intelligentsia.
Think too highly of yourself, huh? Right?
Not myself. Reddit.
Reddit.
Yeah. What is your Reddit? But for you,
follow a Reddit. I'm trying to grow a Reddit. So actually, you're quite intelligent.
Reggie, how to be a politician?
Cannot. I leave too many traces. Yeah, right. I cannot. They will not recruit me. Too public.
No, but the truth is, when I read Reddit, sometimes I feel, they make good points about these policies and like, I didn't think of it this way. Or they just post an article about something the politicians said. They're like, I didn't think of it this way, but that's interesting. But for you, when you said groundswell, where were you coming from and who were you talking to and all that?
It's a few years of being amazed that some of my friends actually are not diehard PAP supporter. Although they look like the typical you should support PAP what? You do very well, you got a good university, you come out, you have a good job, you're in a good sector, you bought your house, your family settled down. Why you don't support? You know, and then they come out with certain reasoning here and there, and then I'm like, oh, interesting. Why is it like that? Like if you think about it, the Singapore dream, as much as it's boring, the hit rate is quite high, right?
Right? And that dream being what? The 5 Cs and all
own
that.
a home.
Yeah, own a home. Not say 5C lah, but own a home, have a family,
steady job.
It's the success of the system, right? It's not exciting, but it's like your minimum, and the hit rate is quite high. So it's interesting to observe that despite a lot of my friends being part of this group, that
there's a shift lah.
Why you don't support? I was like, why? Right? So then the discussion become another 2 podcasts, right? Change in the populace, what do they want, blah, blah, blah. You know, cost of living is really getting higher. People are really feeling the squeeze, you know, but the squeeze look a little bit more like, instead of sending 3 enrichment class, now I can choose 2. You know, or instead of Japan, now I can go Taiwan. Right? But people feel like a squeeze, right? It's like sheltered walkway is not sexy anymore. I grew up with sheltered walkway. How can you use sheltered walkway as a platform to get me to vote for you?
Correct.
Sorry, Taiwan's a very nice destination.
Okay, just saying. Lovely. Lovely. Okay, lovely.
Before
lovely. Okay,
Taiwanese all come
I love Taiwan. Okay, I love Taiwan.
Reggie, you're pissing off a lot of people and nationalities now.
Horrible. Now I cannot even change the destination, right? If I change to the next one, I'm prime for failure, right? You guys did that on me,
it's
right?
like you travel Taiwan suddenly, no.
It's like, not as good. It's like, no, actually Taiwan, love. Sarang, hey, okay, love. I say, what I need. Yes. So it's, but that is a tangible impact on people's life. People feel it, right? So objectively, you look at it, it's not bad, but it is a shrinkage, right? So people feel it lah. And then, you know, if that feeling keeps growing, then they'll vote otherwise.
So there's almost like a barometer for you to get a feel, oh shit, even if they are feeling it, there must be something.
They are the real voting bloc. Let's be clear, they are the real voting bloc.
And they've almost had all their, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They've had the basic needs all covered already lah. Right. So, and yet... And yet they feel that. Yeah, and yet they feel that.
And maybe some of them in the higher needs, those are not met, or it's not consistent. It's like sometimes have, sometimes don't have. You know, correct. So but we don't need to go there lah in terms of the framing of the thought. But it's just, it's the working class, higher working class that is the real voting bloc.
Question a bit more.
Surprised you lah.
I'm very surprised.
And also because there might be the belief that they're also a bit more mobile. You know, like if you're skilled in Singapore, you have a good job, migrating abroad, it doesn't feel as hard as it used to be because there are more people, right? So it's almost the possibility of moving abroad becomes a little more accessible, especially if you're a highly skilled worker. Then you start to look at Singapore, because I've seen it among some of my friends also, because they know that for their industry, like let's say in the medical profession, right? They know like right now medical workers in most countries are at shortage. So wherever they go, they can find something. Then it becomes a thing, oh, if I can go, what's keeping me back here? then they start to question and look at things lah.
Yeah.
So to my earlier point, you think is also to do with like if you're upper middle lah, to try and get to the higher class to buy the supercar there. Now you cannot because it's really they really.
No, I don't think it's that much of a jump lah. It's more like Toyota to BM. Not like Lambo. That is a different game.
But COE is very expensive now.
Yeah.
So it is.
But you know what I mean by middle upper, right? The one that own a Toyota 5-room flat. Have a decent corporate job.
Correct. Yeah.
Sometimes don't go in. The boss will not scold you because you're important enough.
A bit more
relaxed. Got 2 kids. That kind. And then can send the kid to like Atas and Richmond. Like that kind, right? So that is the middle upper, right? It's not like your Lambo and all that shit. That is the upper.
That's the upper of the upper.
And those are the guys that are being taxed over the past few years, right?
Correct.
So the middle upper is the voting bloc that is very uncertain. They're unsettled lah. And I can tell. I feel that is the bloc that the PAP is trying to woo lah.
And those are also that's also your demographic that listens to your podcast a lot.
Yes,
well,
that is
right?
my demographic. Right, so I think that's why they enjoy that I will bring in politics from time to time, and not in the sense of like, oh, this is good, that is bad. No, it's more like how does it impact you?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that was the ultimate pitch for politicians to appear on the financial.
Exactly.
Exactly. See, that's the way you do it, Reggie.
Exactly. Yes.
That's the way.
Really.
Not like Tin Peling, please count.
Yeah. Okay. Let me put it out there. Okay, let me put it out there.
Let's go on a day with me on Valentine's Day.
Yes. Please go on with me. Yes. And also, I just want to say a lot of the leading voices in the space, they all listen to my show.
Yeah.
So if you come,
that one a bit much. Tone it down already. Tone it down.
Okay.
Yeah, a bit much.
Just come.
Just come.
But yeah.
No, I think that's why people also enjoy when you come on our podcast, and we've been on your podcast, and we enjoy also because we're able to talk about this, and then your audience also is quite there are overlaps, but I think also quite different from our audience as well. But I think what you give good value lah, and then the discussion is not just about how do you make money or make your first million, but it's about how you think. And the bigger picture about where you're living, how your money can create a happier life for you in Singapore and things like that. Right?
And also because I don't understand a lot of the shit that I read during budget. I'm like, what?
Don't keep admitting that we don't know anything.
I say I say no.
No, by the third year, you better know some shit. So next year, we do this again.
I know. Yeah. But there's just these questions like never before have I felt the need or desire to go that deep. And like what you said, it's important for people to take away also what the general sentiment is. What the trends are, because you can read the budget, you can understand every point, but part of this is also looking at where things are headed lah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where so I know what GST is now, okay, Terrence. I know.
I also know already.
Yeah, I know BSD, ABSD, the CAP. So
COS.
No, the Committee Against Profiteering. Did you get the play on words? No, it's a cap.
It's a cap.
The committee is literally cap.
Yeah.
And I can totally envision like the people that came out with the name in the room, right?
The cap.
Cat, guys.
Cat.
Woohoo!
We got it.
But where's the cat? Right, it's not being
cat?
solved, right? Please go do something about it.
That's right. Maybe they celebrate too fast.
Yeah, a bit too fast.
The cap, we got it.
End up they kena cap.
No, I also learned today, don't be angry with your Cai Peng auntie so much. It's not
they don't have a lot of
fault.
choice. I do think a lot of the merchants on the ground and not the chain store.
Not the chain store.
Not the chain store.
It's the mom and pop.
The mom and pop. They really don't have a lot of
mom and pop.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I mean, as always, if anyone listening has any specific questions, just put it on Reddit. We'll arm twist Reggie into responding if you direct anything against him.
Yes.
If you're thinking about going to Taiwan, please also DM Reggie. What other things did you say that
I never said anything.
Send him your itinerary, send him all your photos of the awesome trip and all to convince him that Taiwan is actually not bad.
No, I've been there. Both. Yes, Taiwan, Japan, everywhere. Okay, I backpack around. Yes.
Cool. Any final thoughts on the budget? Are we ready for the one Shiok thing?
Really, let's do the one Shiok thing, right?
Yeah. You if you want, you can go like third, so we can start off first if that gives you some buffer. Or you ready to go already?
I don't know what.
No, we do first, then.
You have your one Shiok thing.
My one Shiok thing is I think at the start of the NBA season, National Basketball Association season, I said that I think I was telling on the Alvin Tan podcast that it's very exciting to watch because a lot of strange things statistically are happening this year in the NBA with regards to the number of points being scored per game and who was performing well or not. Well, all that is thrown out the window. We're about halfway through the season now, and it was the craziest trade deadline that just happened now, where basically suddenly all the big players all to power, and then they just decided, I want to leave my team. I'm not happy with the situation here. So big players like Kevin Durant, I don't know you know about him. Yeah, Kevin Durant left Brooklyn. You know, they assembled a super team in Brooklyn about 2-3 years ago. Then everything fell apart, and all the players, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden, have all left already. They've all demanded trades. They've all demanded to go to places they want to go to win championships. So it appears that there's a very big political shift towards players wanting to exert their authority over the where they go and how they're traded and all. And I think the NBA is looking at ways to try and curb that power.
So you're saying a political shift?
Yeah. Because
they have that much leverage.
Players are unionized. Like they're unionized. There's like a lot of minimums that they have to be paid, and you know, all these conditions they set in place for, you know, what they can or can't do. But it looks like the NBA is going to have to clamp down on it because this season has just been ridiculous. Basically, like the way the season started and the way it is now, it feels like it's two different seasons. Like all the big players have all moved to like different teams and all already. So it's like, what are you really watching? Like, you know, you bought season tickets for this year, but like all your stars suddenly all gone. Imagine that what it feels like for a Brooklyn Nets player. So yeah, if you aren't a basketball fan, you know, I'm just pointing out that this season's a very strange season going on in the NBA. Same as at the start of the season. And it's about, to me, it's more interesting about the political power.
So what would be a good intro to catch a taste of that if you don't watch
there are a couple of YouTube channels of people who analyze these sort of things that I do legit. JX, my high roller, I think that's what it's called. So I'm sure there's a video too I can point to that. But yeah, just know that this season is still a very strange season.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. Yeah.
Cool.
How about you?
Okay, my one Shiok thing is, you know, the Super Bowl just happened, right?
Yes.
So there was Rihanna's halftime show, which has gotten a lot of like good reviews and a lot of comments like she slayed and all. But one thing that has gone viral on social media, which if you haven't seen, it might just be because you're not on social media because it's been everywhere. It is the ASL interpreter that was accompanying her performance. So ASL, I believe, stands for American Sign Language. It was done by this individual called Justina Miles. And basically, you know, the interpreter is like when you have this thing in the bottom corner or the side screen, you have so she interpreted Rihanna's dance, the whole 15-minute segment, and she was having like the best time of her life. And you watch it, it looks fucking great because it's not just someone who has no rhythm or doesn't know how to dance. She can dance. She seems very proficient in American Sign Language, and she was mouthing the lyrics, and it's fucking awesome. Like, to me, that is way better than the performance, I mean,
you're speaking against pregnant performers.
Hey, you don't.
I mean, the performance. I mean, I haven't watched it fully. It's just not as epic as last year's one from my POV. But I do think that the songs and all. I mean, her songs are good, But I would say what is better. For me, was the performance of this individual, and there are clips online, and it's all over social media if you Google Justina Miles. And turns out she's also hard of hearing herself. And she's an athlete in a university, so it's just, you watch it, you're like, wow, if you don't smile, and then you're dead inside. Yeah, so it's really cool.
So Rihanna's halftime show not worth watching?
Oh no, you watch that also. You watch that. You know, the fact that she performed like that as a pregnant woman is insane.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. So shout out to all pregnant women.
I would say even just to watch it, just to see how they set up the stage.
Oh yeah, in like 5 minutes, right?
No, not just the speed, but just the fact that it looks like those. You know, what's that game? Super Smash Brothers. Is it, Tristen, is that Super Smash Brothers?
What?
The Super Smash. In the Nintendo game where they jump around and like platforms and fight each other. Yeah, Super Smash Bros. It literally looks like a Super Smash Bros stage where all the platforms and you can jump up.
Because she was quite high up also, but she had a secure harness.
But still, wow, I'd be damn scared.
Holy shit. Do you see it all? You watching too much Parliament, no, bro.
Yeah.
You once in a while, let go, lah.
No, the thing is, I don't find those things interesting.
Oh, you're not a music fan? You're not like pop music fan?
Yeah.
So you don't find pregnant
boxed in,
women
like-
interesting, is it? You don't find pregnant women interesting, is it, Reggie?
I think the music, it's quite good lah.
You're not going to catch him in Taiwan watching pregnant lady sing pop songs.
Walao, hey. Horrible.
So then, okay, what is your one Shiok thing?
Wow. Okay, I don't know how many of you realize. I follow politicians on Instagram. Okay, so Tan See Leng, which is the Minister of Manpower, right? He had a very uncle selfie. Like, you know, this kind of uncle selfie, face in front, never positioned properly one. With Farid Khan, which is Raisa Khan's dad.
Oh.
Recent only. And Farid Khan is the chairman of the Malay Chamber of Commerce, MCCI, I think. Yeah, so it's quite interesting lah.
Wow.
Yeah, you know.
And he just happened to post it like that.
Yeah, it's a very natural. You can tell they uncle selfie themselves. It's not like, you know, like got like PR team at the side and selfie. So it's like very interesting.
So are people commenting about it already?
No.
Confirm, right? No.
No.
Wow.
I don't even think people know Raisa Khan's dad is Farid Khan.
Interesting.
He's a very influential
in the Malay community. Yes.
Yeah, he is.
He wanted to run for president.
Right?
He was the founder of Second Chance or something, is it?
I cannot remember.
Yeah, I think.
Is it
No, the clothing brand. I think so.
So wait, but that was a Shiok thing to you because you felt.
I was like, wow, interesting. Like, what are these guys doing?
Why so interesting, Reggie? Why? Put on your tinfoil hat, Reggie.
No, it's more like, so are they friends? You know, it's like, so is politics just like performance? Actually, they're all incentivized the same way and they're actually kawan-kawan.
But you hear stories of the golden years of American politics where after the Senate meetings and all, the left and right will go for lunch together and all. Maybe they can be friends, Reggie?
I mean, they can. That's why a lot of my European friends, they think Parliament is just a show.
Because they're all...
Right, because to them, it's like they're all kawan-kawan.
It's like USC lah. You know, like, oh, I'm going to...
Yeah. And then after that, hey, let's go buffet. You know,
like, I mean, they're literally trying to beat the shit out of each other for like 25 minutes. Then after that, that's why you respect each other after that. Parliament, they're not, you're not like punching each other in the face, right?
You're verbally punching. Verbally jousting.
I don't know, but yeah, like, so
it's on his Instagram, is it?
It's on his Instagram. Just go Tan See Leng's Instagram. Right, just Tan See Leng also can come on the show. So
I mean, like versus like the hot mic in Parliament. Then they were making fun of Man Wai's school, all that.
Oh yeah.
Which one to you feels like a more accurate reflection of how they interact with each other?
Don't corner me on that. Don't corner me. I very smart. I sniffed it. I was like, this one cannot answer. Say this also wrong. Say that also wrong. Right. So I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe they are friends outside. You know.
Yeah.
After was like, hey guys, bros, why you do that to me, lah, bros? You know?
I mean, if you think about it, they're probably school friends.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different class.
Or they marry the people who are friends and stuff like that.
Or they maybe like cousins of distant relative. You know, like they just went on different branches and then they met in school or something. It's all.
Yeah.
It's one kampung.
One kampung,
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe.
So can people still see this selfie?
I think so. It didn't go viral. I don't even think people found it like interesting. You know,
but it's interesting to.
But I was like, this is very interesting.
That is interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, cool. We'll put the link to that post.
No,
in
it's
the
okay.
description.
It's okay.
No, one Shiok thing. We must always put a link.
No, the idea is for people to be able to share it.
Yeah, Reggie.
Go and share. Okay, share.
Yeah,
Okay,
sharing
Don't
caring,
tag
lah.
me.
Yeah,
Yes, just share. Don't say you're not here. Just share.
Don't tag Reggie, the host Reggie.
In fact, we're just nice. We are supposed to say, where can we find you?
Yeah.
Don't tag him, but where can you find you?
Yeah,
Oh my god. I think you can follow my IG. Your host Reggie.
Your host Reggie.
Yeah, or you can just follow the Financial Coconut. I think that's kind of where we play mostly.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Of course, on our podcast. I mean, by now you should know we run a podcast, right?
Yeah, of course.
So follow our podcast, Financial Coconut Podcast Network. That's about it.
And you are the kind that allow DMs from people who don't follow you, lah, right?
I mean, I allow, but I reply or not. That's me, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you can DM by all means.
And Reddit also. You guys
Yeah,
are
well, Reddit now.
Oh, you're Reddit.
We got a subreddit feed.
What's it called?
It's just the Financial Coconut.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are trying to grow the Reddit.
Yeah.
If a lot of people follow, then incentivize us to like put more work in it.
First of all, don't say things like we want to grow the Reddit.
Okay, we want to go Reddit.
Subreddit.
Yeah, we want to go
Intelligentsia.
Intelligentsia, right? Walao, yeah. So full of yourself, huh? Yeah. The bourgeois, right? The bourgeoisie.
The bougie.
Yeah.
Cool, but thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thank you. I love
this has been great. We also will be coming on an episode of yours.
Yes, it's coming out very soon. So maybe in a month's time,
in a month's
episode
time.
will go out. Yeah, we got a lot of backlog. So yeah.
Okay.
I will turn around not so quick, lah. You guys are much faster. So yes.
Shout out to Tristen there.
Shout out
to Tristen.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, awesome.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for coming, Reggie.
Next year we must do this and must have sponsor.
Yeah,
Yes.
can. That's the goal.
That's our goal. Okay,
That's the
we will
goal.
stage sponsors for next year, right?
Yeah.
So email us.
Can.
What's the email?
contact@ministryoffunny.com. You just DM us lah.
Yeah, just DM us.
DM us.
Thank you
Sweet.
guys.
Thanks,
Love
man.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.